Ladies and gentlemen, let's get spooky with Bant Spirits. So this is Bant Spirits for Modern. As you guys know, every Wednesday we're dropping a Modern deck tech now on the channel, so make sure to like the video and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, trying to hop into the Modern format. Right now we're doing some Halloween themed stuff, and we're doing Bant Spirits today. Basically Azorius Spirits with just a bit of green for that collected company awesomeness that is highly needed in this deck list. So let's jump into the deck list, guys, and see what we're working with in this deck. Alright, here is the full deck list, guys. As always, deck list is going to be right below me, and then of course in the description of the video if you want to follow a link. Let's get into it, guys, starting with Mausoleum So let's jump right into it, guys, starting with Mausoleum Wanderer. This is a card from, I believe, Eldritch Moon or Shadows over Innistrad, one of those. A newer-ish card. It's a rare flyer, 1/1. Whenever another spirit enters the battlefield under your control, Mausoleum Wanderer gets +1/+1 until end of turn. Sacrifice Mausoleum Wanderer, counter target instant or sorcery spell unless its controller pays X, where X is Mausoleum Wanderer's power. So this is very good on turn 1, but also fantastic on turn 5, 6, and 7. It's just a very good card because, again, it's helping you to kind of control instant and sorcery speed spells on your opponent's side of the field, as well as be able to be a pumpable creature that actually can get in for damage on your turn as well. So it kind of makes you want to play creatures on your side of the field and then attack in, and if they have removal, you can just sack the Wanderer and counter it. Like if they go for a Settle the Wreckage, you can definitely counter that with a Mausoleum Wanderer sack and get in for some other damage if you're attacking all in. So very good card for you on turn 1. Next up, we've got Phantasmal Image, a 2-mana 0/0 illusion. You may have Phantasmal Image enter the battlefield as a copy of any creature on the battlefield, except it's an illusion in addition to its other types. It gains when this creature becomes the target of a spell or ability, sacrifice it. So this is really going to go along with us with Supreme Phantom, and I'll talk about that later, but this is going to be our Lord copy. We can also make a copy of Mausoleum Wanderer if we wanted to, or if our opponent has a massive bomb on their side of the field we want to kind of trade with, we can have Phantasmal Image copy that as well. So remember, it's a copy of the battlefield of any creature on the battlefield. So that means it's your creature, your opponent's creature. It's just very good all around. Of course, it does have that targeting ability kind of nonsense where it makes it sack itself, but that's not really a downside ever, honestly. So this is just a great card overall for you, and another good turn to play. Next up for us is Rattle Chains, a 2-mana 2/1. This is a complete 4/4 for us with flash, flying, and when it enters the battlefield, target spirit gains hexproof until end of turn. You may cast spirits as though they had flash as well, which is also super good in the mid to late game, especially when you kind of build up stuff across the battlefield. So Rattle Chains is very good if your opponent's trying to path like a Mausoleum Wanderer or a Drogskull Captain, something like that, or even a Supreme Phantoms, a Lord maybe on your side of the field. If they're trying to get rid of something, you can bring a Rattle Chains and make that thing have hexproof. And also, you can bring this in as a way to pump the Mausoleum Wanderer to make it have, like, 2/2 power to be able to counter something that they're kind of about to cast out. So a lot of synergy here with the spirits. A very good card for Rattle Chains, and art on this card is always super fun to look at. Next up for us, we've got Selfless Spirit. This is here for the board white decks. We've got a 2-mana 2/1 Spirit Cleric rare with flying. Sacrifice the spirit. Creatures you control gain indestructible until end of turn. So this is very, very good against Jund for most parts of the match. Very good against Fatal Push. Very good against Lightning Strikes, that kind of stuff. You definitely want to bring this in for those matchups for sure. Not good against Path at all, but also very good against, like, an Armageddon, a Damnation, whatever your opponent has. Not an Armageddon, a Wrath of God. That was the card I was thinking of, not Armageddon, a Wrath of God. This is very good against those particular kind of situations where they're trying to wipe your board state and you have a Selfless Spirit. You sack this and they can't do that. So very good for that, but just a 2 of in the deck list. Next up for us, you've got Supreme Phantom. This is our Phantom Lord, a 2-mana 1/3 flyer. Other spirits you control get +1/+1. So very simple, very straightforward. It's also very good as well. The one issue here, of course, is it's only 3 toughness, so a Bolt can definitely get it any day of the week, and also a Fatal Push since it is 2 mana as well. So it is one of those spells that you want to, or cards you want to put down while you have a Drogskull Captain out first, or unless you just want to continue to push at your advantage, get the Supreme Phantom out as quickly as possible, and then just go for a Phantasmal Image onto the Phantom to kind of double up your lords on the battlefield. Next up for us, we've got Drogskull Captain, probably the best spirit in this entire deck list, a 3-mana 2/2 flyer. Other spirit creatures you control get +1/+1 and have hexproof. Now, you'll notice this doesn't have legendaries, so you can stack these, and they both have hexproof. It's ridiculously powerful. It's so good. Get out a turn 1 Aether Vial, go turn 3 Drogskull Captain, Drogskull Captain. You basically have an unstoppable force on your battlefield. and if they don't have like a board wipe, then they're dead. I promise, if you get 2 Drogsko Captains out on the battlefield, if your opponent doesn't immediately concede, they either have Settle the Wreckage, Terminus, or some like board wipe spell on their side of the field that can deal with it. But if they don't, then they're just dead. It's kind of insane how powerful this card is if you get multiples out on the battlefield. So very good card, and always a high pick for me in this deck list. Next up here for us, we've got Geist of Saint Traff. This is an interesting card for us because it's the ground attacker. All these spells in here, all the spirits are mostly flyers, but Geist is not. It's a 3-mana 2/2 Spirit Cleric with hexproof, which means it can't be the target of spells or abilities your opponent control. But whenever it attacks, it gives you a 4/4 White Angel creature token with flying onto the battlefield, tapped and attacking. This is amazing for you because if you get this on turn 3, an opponent is a little behind, then they're going to take 6 to the face. If not, they're going to want to trade whatever they have in front of Geist of Saint Traff to get rid of Geist of Saint Traff. The best part about this here, of course, is that we have stuff like, Rattle Chains to give this, not hexproof, not Rattle Chains. We have Phantasmal Image to go into a Supreme Phantom, or Supreme Phantom to go into this board state. If we have a Rattle Chains on the battlefield, there we go, that's what I was trying to say. Geist of Saint Traff is just a very powerful card, and being able to kind of flash in stuff thanks to having Rattle Chains on the battlefield as well means that Geist of Saint Traff will more than likely be able to kill whatever 2/2 like a Snapcaster or whatever, as well as getting in for 4 power in the air, and then again 4 power the following turn. So just a very powerful card, and again it's also hexproof, so opponent is going to have a heck of a time dealing with this other than just trying to put blockers straight in front of it. It's like a Ventilian Click, something like that. Next up for us, we have Spell Queller. This is a 3-mana 2/3 Spirit with flash, flying, and when it enters the battlefield, exile target spell with converted mana cost 4 or less. When Spell Queller leaves the battlefield, the exiled card's owner may cast that card without paying its mana cost. Very powerful card here. Very good tempo card as well. I really like this card, especially against like a Jund list, or especially against a token-based list, or especially just against a deck that has a lot of removal, like Path to Exile and stuff like that. Using a Spell Queller, getting rid of that path that they have in their hand, and holding it for basically the rest of the game until they path the Queller to get their path back, or something like that. Very good card for you. It's also, again, a 2/3 flyer for 3. They can have flash thanks to Rattle Chains. It also has flash by itself too, so it's just a very good card all around. I don't know, I love this card. I think it's super powerful, and of course it's a 3/4 with the Supreme Phantom, and just goes higher than that, thanks to Drogsko Captain and Phantasmal Image. Just such a good card for you at the top slot for your spirits. But that's all of the actual creatures in the deck list. I think there's 28 in total. Let's move on to our spells here. We've got Collected Company. This is why it's Bant Spirits. Got a little bit of green in here for Collected Company. A 4-mana instant. Look at the top 6 cards of your library. Put up to 2 creature cards with a converted mana cost 3 or less, which is anything in the deck, from among them onto the battlefield. Put the rest on the bottom of your library in any order. So one of the downsides here is Spell Queller is one of the few cards that has a weird ability where you want to be able to probably cast this at a particular situation. Now, one of the cool things is Collected Company is an instant, so you can Collected Company into a Spell Queller and counter whatever they're trying to cast on your side, on their battlefield or whatever. Just a very good like all-around situation where you can Collected Company into a Spell Queller, get rid of their removal spell, and then have 2 creatures on the battlefield. It's just super good, especially if you get into a Spell Queller and a Drogsko Captain. Locked down forever. Just very powerful. Next up for us, though, we have Aether Vial, a 1-mana artifact. At the beginning of your upkeep, you may put a charge counter on Aether Vial. You can tap it, and you may put a creature card with converted mana cost equal to the number of charge counters on Aether Vial from your hand onto the battlefield. So this is very powerful on turn 1. You probably want to play Aether Vial before you play Mausoleum Wanderer. We only have 3 in the deck, though, so if you want to put 4 in here, you definitely can, and kind of do 1 less Path to Exile, maybe? I just like the number 3 here because you want to make sure you have a lot of creatures. Collected Company is really going to be the best card for you, and Path to Exile, you really need that for some early game removal against aggro or mid-rangey decks. But very good, again, getting out like a captain into a captain, or a phantom into a captain. If you have 3 mana, you can have 2 counters on Vial if you played it on turn 1. So get out a Spirit, a Supreme Phantom, and then get out a Drogsko Captain. Pretty good all-around plays for you on turn 3. And then next up for us, we've got Path to Exile. This is our removal spell in the deck here, a white mana instant. Exile target creature, its controller may search his or her library for a basic land card, put that card onto the battlefield tapped, then shuffle his or her library. This is very good against more mid-rangey and controlled matchups. It's kind of bad against like aggro-y matchups. Now it's not bad against mono red aggro because they really need like their turn 1 Monastery Swiftspear and everything else in their hand is probably burned. So make sure that when they use all their burn, they have that Swiftspear being a 4/4 or 5/5. You path to exile that and they're going to feel real bad. That's going to be the best play for you against that style of deck. But that's going to be it for our cards in the deck list. Let's go to the lands really quickly. We've got 3 islands, 2 plains, 2 forests, so a couple basics here. And then we have a 4 Flooded Strand, 3 Temple Garden. So Flooded Strand can actually search for Temple Garden because it has some white in it. 3 Hallowed Fountain, 1 Moorland Haunt because we do get up against some Jund stuff where they actually destroy our creatures. We get to make spirits from that. And then 4 Seachrome Coast. So pretty good cards all around. Seachrome Coast being our fast land as well. You could probably just slot in Seachrome Coast or take out Seachrome Coast and put in some more islands and plains as in basics if you get into a lot of Blood Moon matchups, but not necessarily too bad. You also have 2 forests in here, so if they go with the Path to Exile and they've Blood Mooned you or whatever, then you can definitely go with a forest instead of a Temple Garden whenever you hunt with a Flooded Strand to make sure you actually do have green mana for those collected companies. So since we only have 4 cards in the entire deck list that have green in it, we're definitely going to be a little light on green in the mana base, but we definitely need to get into it as quickly as possible for that turn 4 collected company. As far as the sideboard goes, we've got a pretty simple mix up here. We've got Dampening Sphere. This is here, or Damping Sphere, not dampening. Damping Sphere. There we go. It's a 2-mana artifact. If a land is tapped for 2 or more mana, it produces 1 colorless instead of any other type and amount. Each spell a player casts costs 1 colorless more to cast for each other spell that player has cast this turn. So this is very good against Tron. This is very good against Storm. It's a good card to bring in for those particular matchups. Good card against probably, yeah, basically just Storm and Tron. Good card all around for that. It's a Tron killer. You know, for all of you that are on the channel that are new and you're coming from Pleasant Kenobi, it is a Tron killer. That's what this card is. Next up for us, we've got Rest in Peace, a 2-mana enchantment. Whenever it enters a battlefield, exile all cards from all graveyards. So very good against Reanimation, very good against Hollow One, because of course they have Bloodghast and all those Phoenixes and just a bunch of obnoxious stuff with flashback in the graveyard. You want to use Rest in Peace to get rid of that stuff. And if a card or token would be put into a graveyard from anywhere, exile instead. So as soon as anything hits the graveyard, it's going to get exiled as well. So bring this in against Hollow One, bring this in against Sultai, Reanimation, bring this in against Living End. This is a great card all around. Next up for us, we've got Stony Silence. This is here for the Affinity matchup. This is here for Tron. This is here for, you know, just if they have artifacts and you don't like them to have artifacts or use artifacts, bring in Stony Silence. It locks it down real good. Next up for us, we've got Settle the Wreckage. So this is good against the mono red aggro list. This is good against Boros aggro, good against Rakdos aggro. Any kind of aggro list is coming at you. You probably want to bring in Settle the Wreckage, or maybe even an elf list coming at you. You want to bring in Settle the Wreckage to kind of slow them down and make sure they get land, of course, but they have exiled creatures in the exile zone. Next up for us, we've got Curate, Great Glassspinner, a great card for us, a 3-mana 2/2 legendary creature, Spirit with Flying. Creatures you control have, whenever this creature becomes target of the spell or ability for the first time in a turn, counter that spell or ability. So this is actually quite good in a heavy removal matchup, mostly Jund for the most part. Just a lot of removal. If your opponent has a lot of removal, bring in Kira, the Great Glassspinner, and they're going to have a heck of a time getting around a lot of different creatures on your side of the field, because again, whenever it becomes a target of a spell or ability for the first time in a turn, you get to counter the first one, so they have to waste 2 pieces of removal on a single card. Mostly it's going to be 2 pieces of removal targeting Kira here, but, you know, you never know. Next up for us, we've got 3 Detention Spheres. So Modern is all about having complete 4-ofs in your deck list, and Detention Sphere is amazing for those particular matchups, especially against like an Ironworks combo deck, or especially against any kind of deck where they have lots of copies of things. Tokens are always good as well. A very good card just to bring in against any kind of Hollow One deck. So if they have lots of Hollow Ones on turn 1, you can go hopefully turn 3 if you're not dead by then, and Detention Sphere all of those Hollow Ones. So very good card all around for that. And the last 2 cards in the deck list here are Toper Orb. This is a 2-mana artifact. Creatures entering the battlefield don't cause abilities to trigger. So against an Iona or against a random deck where it has like an end of the battlefield ability decks, a lot of those decks, they just kind of die to Toper Orb. So you bring it in here for that, and you got a good card as well. Now you could put in some Mana Drain, or not Mana Drain, Mana Leak, something like that in your sideboard as well. If you want to go up against more control-heavy matchups, or just have an extra bit of control in the sideboard, you can definitely do that. I just like Toper Orb because it's a bit more fun and kind of more, I guess, niche for a sideboard attack, because opponents really not going to be expecting this card if they have a lot of enter the battlefield abilities, and you're going to have it ready for them. But that is the full 75, folks, and that's going to do it for the deck tech, guys. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. Like it if you like it, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and let's get into some matches and see how this deck actually does. Alright guys, let's get into match 1 here and see what we can do with Bant Spirits. Again, it's kind of basically just Azorius Spirits, but we've got green in there for Collected Company. Have a 3 mana opening hand with an Aether Vial, and 2 Geist of St. Travs with Rattle Chains. This is an auto keep for us. Passing for the opponent here, going into a Spiral of Canal. It could be maybe, I don't know yet. We'll see. Taking Aether Vial up to 1, laying a Forest and passing turn. We want to get that Rattle Chains out on their end step. Make sure we get around any kind of removal. Scalding Tarn for the opponent's Serum Visions. This looks like maybe a control deck of some sort. Once I see Serum Visions, I think control. I know that's not always the case. Gonna go with the Rattle Chains on the instep. Make sure that you tick up the Aether Vial now to 2. We have a Mausoleum Wanderer, so we can also go for a Geist or a Drosco Captain. Since we think this is a control deck, we could have gone with a Geist or Captain there, but we're gonna make the Temple come in tapped. Scalding Tarn coming in and getting them a Hallowed Fountain. So this is a Jeskai deck. Could be Jeskai control, could be Jeskai aggro. We'll see what happens. And just waiting on that Mausoleum Wanderer there. Now keep in mind, Rattle Chains makes it have flash, but we're going to pass turn here and tick up our Aether Vial to 3. Playing another land, coming in tapped. Going Geist of St. Trav, seeing if they have any kind of counter. They have Logic Knot here. No problem. We're just going to go Aether Vial and grab another Geist from our hand. And that's going to do it. Get in for 2 here. Drop them down to 13. That's the beauty of Aether Vial early in the match. 4 lands for the opponent. Going to go with a Lightning Strike onto Rattle Chains and play another Geist of St. Traft of their own. Interesting. We're going to not take up Aether Vial. Going to attack in here for 2. And we're going to flash in the Captain here because we can. And make sure that their Geist dies. And they scoop it up immediately. I do love me a flashed in Drosco Captain. Alright, we go to Sideboard here. Maybe bringing in some, thinking about bringing stuff in. I think we just actually keep it as is. We didn't really get enough of a look of our opponent's deck to make any real decisions just yet, so what we have is fine. And that's kind of what's going to happen most of the time in the Bant Spirits deck. 4 lands with a Captain, Wanderer, and Path. Let's go with the keep here. Opponent's on the play. Flooded Strand. And Flooded Strand from us. We're going to go Coast into a Wanderer past turn. We're going to go Strand into a Steam Vents. Maybe Bolt? Yes, they're going to Bolt there. 6 cards in hand for the opponent here. Serum Visions off the top there. They have 17 life, so they basically spent a Bolt to Bolt themselves to Bolt our creature. Collected Company off the top is actually quite good, especially thanks to our Flooded Strand here. Going to go for a Celestial Colonnade. This is definitely a control list, now that we see that. Supreme Phantom is our play here with Path to Exile up for any kind of removal against anything. We could see a Snapcaster. Nope, there's just a Bolt. No problem. If you see 1 Bolt, you're definitely going to see another. 3 land open available for them. Let's go for a Flooded Strand here, get a Temple Garden. And we could go for Collected here. We could go for Drosco Captain. We're going to try Captain first, holding up a Path to Exile. See a Path to Exile hit ours, no problem. We're just going to grab a Forest there. That really does help us out as far as being able to build up our board state. 2 Collected Companies in our hand now, 3 cards in hand for the opponent. We're going to pass turn here. They're going to go Scalding Tarn. Untap that on their turn. 4 cards in hand here, playing a land. And we're just going to go Instep Collected Company. And it does hit. Mausoleum Wanderers, we're just going to grab those 2. And make 2 2/2s. Well, just 2 1/1s actually. We have another Geist in our hand with a Captain. We're going to go Captain first and see if it hits. It does hit. So now we're kind of thinking they might have a Supreme Verdict or a board wipe. So we're going to hold Geist of St. Traft in our hand for a while. Celestial Colonnade making a 4/4. We're going to go Path on Celestial Colonnade there. No problem. Getting in for 3. Drop them down to 10. 4 cards in hand here. Path on our Captain here. Not bad. 2 cards in hand for our opponent. Still no board wipe from them, so we feel pretty confident going with another Collected Company. Probably going to go for that during our turn here because of that Celestial Colonnade. Supreme Phantom. Yeah, 4 triggers here. I'm going to go Phantom and Selfless Spirit. So very good at being able to attack in here. They can animate the Colonnade. I believe they'll have to sack their Flooded Strand and go to 9. And that would be a 4/4 there. Yeah, they're going to go with a thing here. We could go with a sack Selfless Spirit, but we want to hold the Selfless Spirit just in case of a board wipe. We're going to go Geist of St. Traft on main phase 2, pass turn back. So we have lethal next turn. Do they have anything? 3 cards in hand here. Sort of a close situation because if they have, yep, they have Lightning Helix. We're going to go sack on Lightning Helix. So that means they don't gain life. Which is very good. Path to Exile on the Phantom, no problem. Going to grab a land out of that. And this is one of the advantages of having basic lands. And they're going to have nothing else, and that's going to do it. Nice. But that's one of the advantages of having lots of basic lands in your deck list. If they keep going Path or something like that, you definitely can keep ramping into stuff. We have a 1-lander, but we're going to go for it with the Mausoleum Wanderer off the top. The reason we keep the 1-lander is because everything in our hand is just 1 or 2 lands. So, not really going to worry about that too much. I'm going to pass turn into an opponent here. Flooded Strand from the opponent. We hit a land off the top because we're amazing. Going to go Mausoleum Wanderer here and get in for 2 points of damage thanks to the Wanderer being pumped by the other Wanderer. Now this is very good because if they go for Path or something like that, we're still going to be able to ramp, which is nice. But we also have 2 cards here to be able to kind of get around any kind of burn spell or something like that. They're going to go Flooded Strand into an island and Field of Ruin. Howling Mine is the play for him. Interesting. I'm going to say them, not him. Going to go Flooded Strand, grab a Temple Garden there, and just go Supreme Phantom and get in for 6. Nice. Nothing but value here. Howling Mine does draw them 2 cards. They're up to 8 cards here. But do they hit a 3rd land? They do with another Flooded Strand. And this is kind of where Flooded Strands start to be a negative because we're in the mid to late game. Not mid to late game. We're in the very early to mid game. We have them at 10. Now they did go with an Exhaustion there, making sure that our Wanderers are tapped down. We could have sacked a Wanderer, but wanted to just kind of be more careful with our play. We could have gotten a Phantasmal Image there, but wanted to hold up a Path to Exile. Again, 7 cards in hand for the opponent here, thanks to Howling Mine. So all we're kind of looking for now is if they have Cryptic Commands or more Exhaustions, something like that. Now, Mausoleum Wanderer means if we sack it towards an instant or sorcery, they have to pay 2, thanks to Wanderer being expensive. Oh, opponent just scoops it up. They see the Phantasmal Image for the other for the Supreme Phantom there. This is definitely a control deck. Thinking about taking out Path to Exile here and bringing in Detention Spheres, which is exactly what we do. And Detention Sphere is really here for like a Jace the Mind Sculptor, Teferi, those kind of things in this particular matchup. If it's a control deck, you know they have them. All right, we have 2 Hallowed Fountains in our hand here, 2 Shocklands. Would love to have a fetch land, but we do not. We get a Seachrome Coast off the top into an Aether Vial, turn 1. They go Ancestral Vision here, 2nd land. Now, one of the issues here with Ancestral Vision is we are basically on a clock to be as quick as possible. Supreme Phantom here is quite good, and next turn with Rattle Chains we'll be able to protect the Phantom if they have any kind of removal. But they're just 3 basic islands here, so let's go for Hallowed Fountain, take 2, and go Wanderer first, and then get in for 1 here. Now we can go 2 Rattle Chains, 1 on their instep and 1 via Aether Vial on their instep. Ancestral Vision counting down. 4th land here, Serum Visions. Still no other color land, which is very interesting. Let's see, 5 cards in hand for them. Gonna go for another Exhaustion here. We could go with a tap out as far as Mausoleum Wanderer, but we're just going to go Aether Vial, bring in a Rattle Chains, and that's totally fine. We're just going to keep it as is. We could go with a counter here, and that's exactly what we're going to do. Just to make sure we have our lands untapped. If we hit another land for Collected Company, we can definitely do that. And we hit a Temple Garden, absolutely. Let's go Hog Wild. It's going to go Spell Queller and Selfless Spirit and get in for lots of damage there. Chop them down to 12. Very nice. Ancestral Vision does go off this turn, so let's see if they have any kind of removal. But we have Selfless Spirit on the battlefield. Ancestral Vision goes off. Yep, there we go. Selfless Spirit helps us against a board wipe here. Serum Vision's drawing some cards here. The only thing that Selfless Spirit can't really help us against is a Terminus, so we want to be very aware of that. Taking Aether Vial up to 3 here. And you go for a Cryptic Command. Very nice. Now in response, we're going to go Collected Company. We see Phantasmal Image. We should go Phantasmal Image, copy the Spell Queller, and that's exactly what they do. They scoop it up. Very nice. Let's get into match 3 here. Again, the Spell Queller and the Mausoleum Wanderer do really good against the control decks. We see a turn 1 Ancestral Vision once again. Aether Vial, all right. This might be the same opponent here. I'm not really sure. Every time I see turn 1 Ancestral Visions, I'm like, oh, yep, it's going to be another control deck. And there's the Celestial Colonnade. But that's alright. We definitely do not mind going up against control because we can definitely handle it. Supreme, a Phantom coming in. Could have gone Mausoleum Wanderer there since they're going to go for a turn 3 land, perhaps, which they do. Glacial Fortress. Going to go Aether Vial on 1 and bring in that Mausoleum Wanderer. It is a 2/2 thanks to the Phantom there. And it can attack in this turn if we want to. We're going to tick Aether Vial up to 2 here. They're going to go Path to Exile on the Phantom. And we're going to make sure that we get an island off of, or plains off of that. Let's go for a Hallowed Fountain here and go Geist of St. Traft. Hump the Wanderer and get in for 2. And Rattle Chains is also in our hand, so if they have any more paths, we can just go Rattle Chains onto our Wanderer and protect it. Keep in mind they can't protect, or they can't target the Geist of St. Traft. Gonna tick up Vial. No, we're not. Temple Garden off the top here. We're going to make sure it comes in untapped. Collected Company on our turn. Rattle Chains, and that's it. So no big hit on that Collected Company. Thinking they may have a Settle the Wreckage this turn. They do. We're going to flash in Mausoleum Wanderer here and just sack it immediately. And get in for lots of damage. Get in for, let's see, 6, 7, 8, 9. Drop them down to 9. Ancestral Vision does go off. They go up to 6 cards in hand here. They desperately need a board wipe. 5th land drop. Alright. Getting into a Seacrum Coast. We're just going to attack in here like a madman. Mission Briefing. Maybe go for a Settle the Wreckage here, but they can't. They don't have enough mana for that. They can go Path to Exile, though. Let's see how they play this out. Rattle Chains. Path to Exile the Angel. We can't target it with Rattle Change, which is very unfortunate since it is an Angel. We're kind of looking that over, saying, okay, that's fine. We could go with a pump there with Rattle Chains on the Wanderer, but we still have lethal next turn, so no problem. Ancestral Vision's coming in. 4 cards in hand for the opponent, going up to 8 now. Land drop. Into Timely Reinforcements, a very good card for them. So we could go Rattle Chains, make a 2/2 Mausoleum Wanderer and sack that. They'd have to pay 2. Not really that big of a deal. Detention Sphere is the card here where we would want to sack a Wanderer. We'll see. Rattle Chains being targeted there. We could have also brought in our own Rattle Chains to make sure that that Rattle Chains was not targeted. So, not sure why I didn't do that. That's a bit of a misplay there. Phantasmal Image off the top for us. Gonna play that out for the Mausoleum Wanderer here. And just swing in again. Keep in mind we're attacking with the Geist here because we're making a 4/4 Angel in the air. And we have 8 hitting in on the air. So Timely Reinforcements, while it does elongate the match slightly, we still have the advantage here at having flying power, so they really need something this next turn. And having 2 Wanderers on the battlefield means they have 2 counters to get through to do that, because the Rattle Chains is lethal. And that's it! Nice! Scooping it up. We could bring in Kira here. I feel like we probably just want to bring in the Detention Spheres over the Path to Exiles. Very good against other Detention Spheres and any kind of Planeswalkers. We could also bring in maybe Rest in Peace if they have something like that. Thanks to Mission Briefing, we've seen that. Or Snapcaster Mage, but we're just going to go with the Detention Spheres and get into Game 2 here. No problem. As you can tell, the Bant Spirits deck is very good at being able to bounce back in tight situations. 3 land for us, Selfless Spirits and Geist with a Captain in hand. 1 land for the opponent here. We're just going to go with a Flooded Strand and grab a Temple Garden coming in tapped. So we already have enough mana for a Collected Company. Glacial Fortress into a Search. That's very good for us because it means we get a Selfless Spirit out immediately. It's a 2/1 flyer. 5 cards for the opponent getting into their 6th on the beginning of the turn. They do get to, dig for Search for Azcanta. A card that surprisingly will see a lot of Modern play. I don't know if it's going to see Modern play once it rotates. I feel like it probably will, especially in the control deck here, but Celestial Colonnade, they're going to go this path onto our Selfless Spirit. We're going to grab a Plains there. Pass turn. Captain for us or Geist. We're probably going to go with Geist here, because Geist can get around a path. And next turn we can go for a Collected Company if we draw into it. Search for Azcanta once again for the opponent. 4 cards in hand on their upkeep, drawing into their 5th. Need a land drop this turn though. There it is. We might see some Cryptic Commands coming out. Gonna go with a Drawskull Captain pre-combat to see if we get a Cryptic Command. Yep, Cryptic Command, counter, and tap, and then we're gonna go Selfless Spirit. We opted to do that because we have 1 Captain in hand. The reason we wanted to do that was because we want to make sure that the Cryptic Command does not draw them a card, but instead just keeps them away on damage. 4 cards in hand for the opponent here. 5th land drop. Getting close to being able to animate that Celestial Colonnade. Moorland Taunt is here for us with that Drawskull Captain in the graveyard. Thanks to that counter on Cryptic Command. Let's go for a Supreme Phantom here and see if it hits. It does hit. Could go for a Captain, but we're going to go Cryptic Command, and they're going to draw a card there, so that's fine. Let's go for a Captain if we want to. Actually, we're going to wait. Let's wait a turn just in case they go the board wipe, and we have the Drawskull Captain to reanimate with the Moorland Taunt. They have Field of Ruin there if they want to get rid of the Moorland Taunt. So instead, we're going to go Moorland Taunt into the Captain and make a 1/1. Actually, a 2/2 thanks to the Supreme Phantom. Let's go Drawskull Captain here. 3 cards in hand for the opponent. Do they have Settle? No, they just have another Cryptic Command. Wow. All right. Now opponent has to show me probably a Terminus. They do have a Celestial Colonnade to animate here. No Terminus. 3 cards in hand for the opponent. Jace the Mind Sculptor. There we go. Draw 3 cards. Going to go for a Brainstorm. No problem. 4 cards, or 4 mana available, so no Celestial Colonnade animation this turn. But there is a path coming to Drawskull Captain. Going to grab an island there. And a Stony Silence, which is fine, I guess. Let's see here. Rattle Chains for us. Not a huge issue. We're just going to swing out like a madman. Going to send everything at their face. And the Selfless Spirit hitting Jace here. So they're at 20. They're now at 10. Very good. And they lost Jace out of that. 1 card in hand for the opponent, drawing into their 2nd here. Terminus on the top. So that does mean they can cast it for the Miracle cost here. We do have Rattle Chains in our hand, so we can throw that out onto the battlefield. They're going to go Field of Ruin on that Moorland Taunt. We're going to grab an island and just in-step flash in Rattle Chains, making sure we still have a threat. 1 card in hand for the opponent here. Supreme Phantom off the top for us. We're just rebuilding our board state, no problem. Search for Azcanta for the opponent. They're really looking for probably a path. They find an Opt. They can definitely use that this turn if they want to. Get again for 3, drop them down to 7. One of the best things about the control deck is that Search for Azcanta really does help them as far as if they're out of cards in hand, they can start to slowly fill up again. Supreme Verdict from the opponent. Ooh, that hurts so bad. Detention Sphere for us, it doesn't do anything right now. And if Detention Sphere had Flash, we would use it against the Celestial Colonnade. But we don't see anything. Terminus from the opponent here. Yeah, there's nothing we can really do now. We're kind of in a loop where we probably should just scoop it up. Celestial Colonnade hitting us for 4 here, down to 15. If we hit a Collected Company, we should be okay. If we could probably bounce back with a Collected Company, but that's if we hit it. We're going to give ourselves probably 1 more turn for that. Keep in mind, a lot of our creatures are on the bottom of our deck now, so we probably won't be able to hit it. Let's see what opponent has here. If they have anything with the Supreme Phantom removal, but they could always just... Oh, wow, opponent just scooping up. Okay. Wow, strange. I feel like opponent probably salt scooped there or just kind of ran out of time, but I really wanted to show that match because I thought it was really nice. So let's get into match 4, guys, and see what we're happening. See what's happening. What's I don't know what's happening. Aether Vial on turn 1 pass. So many captains, so many phantasmal images. Birds of Paradise for the opponent here. Gonna go with a Flooded Strand, sack that, and grab an island. And just gotta be patient now. Now we just gotta wait till we get 3 lands and Aether Vials at 3 or 2. And then we're just gonna go captain and do Phantasmal Image. Utopia Sprawl for the opponent, so this might be a Titan deck. We don't really know just yet. Burning Tree Emissary, okay. This is going to be definitely a deck that wants to ramp really quickly. We're going to go draw Skull Captain and go Phantasmal Image and just make another Captain. Turn 3, 2/3/3 flying hexproof creatures? I'll take it. The next turn we can do the exact same thing. But actually have two 5/5s. We're going to go Garruk here and make a 3/3. No problem. We're going to say Aether Violet 3, Flooded Strand, grab an island. And let's just go with a Phantasmal Image here. Make another Captain. And then just flash in another Captain. Or not flash in, but Aether Violet another Captain. And hit Garruk and their life total. And we have, you know, the game in the air. Very nice. I'm telling you, man, if you got multiple Captains in the field, it's GG. Probably thinking about bringing in Settle the Wreckage against this particular deck list. Maybe bringing in Selfless Spirit. Actually, let's take out 2 Geists and bring in some Settle the Wreckage instead. Since this is more a Gruul list, we're probably seeing a lot of aggro creatures really quickly, so Settle the Wreckage is quite good for us. It's a little slow, but it can help against this matchup. 3 lands with a Settle, Supreme Phantom, Mausoleum Wonder, and Captain. This is actually quite a good hand for us, so we'll see what we can do. Verdant Catacombs going for a Forest here, tapping in for an Arbor Elf. Very nice. Flooded Strand for us, sacking that. Going for a Temple Garden, maybe? Let's go for an island instead and go Wanderer. We could have gone for Temple Garden there, but we wouldn't be able to play anything on that turn. We really wanted to have a 1/1 for the Wanderer. Then we would have a possible, Summon Ground coming in tapped. Utopia Sprawl, actually that didn't come in tapped, that just came in and tapped 4 Utopia Sprawl. Burning Tree Emissary here, giving them some extra mana. And tapping, going Blood Moon on turn 2. Ugh. I'm glad I grabbed an island, but that does lock us down as far as getting white mana from the Drogskull Captain until we hit a white mana. Turn 2 Blood Moon is really powerful. 2 cards in hand from the opponent here. Can we make our way out of this? Summoner's Pact. Ooh. Can't really counter that with the Wanderer because of how much mana they have here. Yeah, I think opponent just won the game on turn 3. Primeval Titan is the card they pick here. Untapping and going for our prime time. There we go. Blood Moon does lock them out of Nykthos, but it doesn't really matter because they've got tons of stuff on the battlefield here. All we can do is go Rattle Chains. Could play that Flash, but it doesn't really matter that much. Let's just hit in for 3 here, drop them down to 10. We're at 19, so we can be a little bit more aggressive. They got to pay for that Summoner's Pact, which is no problem for them. 1 card in hand here, attacking in for 8, dropping us down to 9. Or 11, not 8. 9. Dropping us down to 11. Path of Exile is amazing, but we really need white mana, and we don't have it. And let's see here. We can attack in here with everybody, drop them down to 4, and have lethal next turn. But then they just go Crater Hoof. Oh, okay. I see how it is. Let's go to Sideboard here and see what we can do. Maybe taking out Settled Wreckage, bringing in Detention Sphere instead. Maybe bringing in Geists and taking out Selfless Spirit. Let's try that. A little bit of a hard matchup here for us because the ramp from the opponent is so strong. Let's see here. 2 lands in hand with an Aether Vial and land on the top. Go Aether Vial for 1 on 1 and pass turn. Mountain into Utopia Sprawl, pass. Aether Vial on 1 here. Going into a Plains. We have blue and white, so very good for us against a Blood Moon. Oath of Nissa coming in for the opponent here. 6 cards in hand. And Burning Tree Emissaries revealed. Going for that. And an Arbor Elf. Goodness. The ramp is real. Let's go for an island here and go Geist of St. Traft. This is quite good for our game plan here, thanks to our opponent having no flyers. But again, they have explosive mana here, so really going to be struggling. They have 5 mana already. Going to go Garruk. Collected Company on turn 4 for us is quite good. Summoner's Pact for the opponent again. Hornet Queen is the card here, and they're going to replay. And they're going to play it immediately on turn 3. Very powerful. Now we can go Phantasmal Image, copy their Hornet Queen. Which is not bad. Acidic Slime is the card they picked there. Yep. Got a Phantasmal Image on their instep, make a Hornet Queen ourselves, and then tick the Aether Vial up to 3. Let's go Flooded Strand and grab a Temple Garden here. And then just use Collected Company immediately. 2 captains is exactly what we want. Getting in for 4 on the ground, and then, let's see. We're at 17 life. We want to attack with everybody. And they probably target the Angel to hit Garruk. Yeah. Trying to be more aggressive than they are. Down to 8 for the opponent here. We have 2 3/3 flyers. Now keep in mind they have flying Death Touchers, so we really have to struggle to get past those. But they did go Summoner's Pact here. They have to pay for that. 2 cards in hand. Phantasmal Image really did mess them up as far as being able to get around anything. Excuse me. Let's see if they go for anything. They could go for another Summoner's Pact. Wow. Opponent has everything. Prime time for them. But they're going to actually scoop it up. They didn't see the match there. Nice. It's always strange whenever an opponent scoops it up in a situation like that because they do have options, but yeah, they really needed a situation where they could get around that Geist, but they couldn't really do that. Going to go into game 5 here, and Temple Garden for us, coming in tapped. 2 land hand, with a Collected Company in hand. Utopia Sprawl from the opponent here. Not the same deck, mind you. Seacrum Coast for us. Sun Petal Grove for the opponent here. Let's just flash in a Rattle Chains. Not too bad. Has Hexproof for that turn. And just get in for 2. Now keep in mind all of our spirits now have flash, so we can flash in Supreme Phantom whenever we want. Lots of mana on our opponent's side of the field. 5 cards in hand. Ooh, so much mana. What's happening? Word of Calling for 2. Interesting. Okay. Going for a Devoted Druid. Oh, so this might be the Devoted Druid deck that's the unlimited mana deck. Let's go Supreme Phantom, free combat, and just get in for 6 in the air. Alright. Let's see them have the Vizier of Remedies here. If they have that, then that means the Devoted Druid can just tap forever. They do have it. They have Vizier of Remedies. Alright, so we're just going to see the opponent tap for a little bit. One of the things about Modern is there's a bunch of combos like this that kind of exist that make it so you have lots of like unlimited mana, unlimited damage, something like that. We're going to go Path to Exile on our Phantom. We're going to grab a Island. They're going to go with a Allosaur Rider, making a 6/6. Looks like they're going to go for, yep, Eldritch Evolution, going for an Iona. Ooh. And that basically locks us out of blue. Which is terrible. But if we hit a land there, we don't. But if we did, we could go Collected Company and get some stuff out that way. But it's kind of now a useless situation. We could attack in here for 4. We could block 1 here and go down to 10. Eternal Witness. Looks like they're going to grab that Court of Calling once again. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Opponents won this game. I always try to play out these games because if they're going for like unlimited mana sources like Devoted Druid, especially on MTGO, you'll notice that their timer is going down way faster than our timer. So I'm always happy to see them play out their matches because it sometimes means that we actually can time out our opponent, which is funny. But yeah, they're going to go for some tappy taps. Go way up. 1 card in hand here. Going to go for Court of Calling. Maybe grab... Let's see what's going to grab for here. Court of Calling for 9. Ooh, is it an Eldrazi? Nope, it is Elish Norn. Yeah, we're just going to scoop up there. Taupe Orb's fine here for the Iona. We could also grab the Detention Sphere if we want to. I think Path to Exile is fine. Let's take out some Spell Quellers. These are not as useful against those huge bombs. And let's bring in some Detention Spheres and just hit OK. Play first? Yes. 2 land hands here, Path to Exile, Rattle Chains, and Geist with a Collected Company. So this is all pretty good for us. Opponent mulligans to 5 here. Let's go for a Plains and pass. Keeping a Path to Exile up. Arbor Elf for the opponent here. No problem. We're going to go with an Island and flash in Rattle Chains. Another Forest for the opponent. 4 cards in hand. Untapping, going for a third. Eldritch Evolution, okay. Going for a Kitchen Sphinx. They do gain 2 life there. Let's just go with a Rattle Chains here. Make it 2-1. And Temple Garden. Gonna go Drogskull Captain and get in for 3 hexproof. Keep in mind the Sphinx does not have flying. Voice of Resurgence for the opponent, getting in for 3, drop him down to 15. Flooded Strand is pretty okay. Let's go for that and go for just a regular island. And then go Collected Company here. Supreme Phantom and Mausoleum Wanderer are definitely the picks here for us. Let's just get in for 7 in the air. We might be able to outpace our opponent as far as damage goes. They didn't hit their combo immediately, so they're going to have to play the game fair and square. Scavenging Ooze for the opponent here. And gaining some life. Making a 3-3 and getting in for 3 here. We could go with the block on the Supreme Phantom, which is exactly what we're going to do. Now that does mean that the Sphinx does die and come back and they gain 2 life, but we're not really worried that much about that. Let's see if we're going to go Geist here. Let's go Geist into a pumped Mausoleum Wanderer and get in for everybody once again. Counting where the damage is going here. Down to 2. Rattle Chains could have made it down to 1, but not really worried that much. And that's going to do it for game 2 there. We just kind of outpaced our opponent there. They had a bad mulligan. And as far as game 3 goes, probably feel pretty confident with what we have here. Yeah, we're just going to hit some mid here, I think. Let's get into game 3 here and see how we can do. Alright, 4-land hand with a Collected Company, Aether Vial, and Wanderer. Opponent is on the play. Forest into Arbor Elf. 5 cards in hand once again. So they kept a full 7. Gonna go Coast into Aether Vial. Detention Sphere here is actually quite good. Ooh, a second Arbor Elf and a third Arbor Elf. Oh, this Detention Sphere is gonna be so good. So good. We just gotta get to 3 mana now. Supreme Phantom off the top for us. Let's go for Phantom into a Mausoleum Wanderer. Since Aether Vial's on 1. They have a ton of mana right now thanks to Arbor Elf. But it doesn't really matter. Let's see, they're going to go Eldritch Evolution. We're going to flash in an Aether Vial. And make them pay. Now, the one thing is they can't untap the planes here. They can only pay 1. So, that sucks. And they scoop it up. Oh, that's hilarious. Oh, so fun. Let's get into match 6 here. This is the last match of the day. 2 land hand for us. Gonna go with the keep here. Aether Vial. And pass. Relic of Progenitus here. There we go. Mind Stone. No problem. Gonna go the Moorland Haunt and go Geist of St. Traft here. Not really sure what the opponent's on, but we do know that Geist of St. Traft can get around any kind of bolt. Yeah, and Kirin Nalar, interesting. Let's go with a Selfless Spirit coming out on the instep here. Tick the Vial up to 3. So that way we have a Drogskull Captain we can flash in here if we need to. And let's just get in 4 damage. Nice. Making a 4/4 flyer as well. Gonna block the 2/1. We're gonna go Drogskull Captain and make sure that it does survive. Get in for some extra damage as well. Drop them down to 13 on turn 4. Magma Jet for the Captain here. That does suck. It's not unexpected. Doing 2 more damage to the Selfless Spirit. We could have sacked the Spirit to save the Captain, but wanted to make sure if they had any kind of board-wide stuff, we could go with a Geist. Aether Vial and Captain on the top. Nice. Let's get in for 3 and 4. So get in for 7 here. Drop them down to 6. Do they have anything against the Geist here? And that's going to do it for game 1. Very good. Look at that sideboard here. We're seeing red in their deck, so we could bring in Kira here. Taking out the Spell Queller, bringing in the Detention Sphere. Not bad at all. 3-land hand with a Detention Sphere. Very nice. Going into a snow-covered mountain. We're going to go Wanderer here. Looks like Skred. Yep, there's Skred. Didn't notice the snow covered there. Mind Stone on their turn there. We're going to go for an island and flash in a Rattle Chains. Gonna go for another Mind Stone here. And another Mind Stone. Ooh, Detention Sphere is looking real good. But guess what I do on our turn here? Let's see what we're gonna do here. We need to target a untapped Mind Stone, but instead we target the tapped Mind Stone. We target the untapped Mind Stone, which is a bad move. That was a big punt right there. If we had targeted the tapped Mind Stone, they wouldn't be able to sack it that turn, meaning we would have grabbed all of them. They could have still sacked the one that was untapped, but they wouldn't have got as much value out of them. Collected Company or Path to Exile. This is our option for this turn. Or Supreme Phantom into Path to Exile the following turn. So we're going to go Phantom and Path the Rabble Master until before it's their turn again. And just get in for 3 here. They're going to do a Lightning Bolt on the Phantom. No problem. Totally understandable. 4 cards in hand for the opponent. Getting in for 1 here. Dropping us down to 15. And Ratchet Bomb. Interesting. With a Simian Spirit Guide. We're just going to go Collected Company on our turn here. And we have Spell Quellers. Very nice. And getting in for 2. It's always kind of a good idea to go with a Collected Company on your opponent's turn. But if you want to be more aggressive, you can always go Collected Company on your turn, just in case you want to get into a Dragskull Captain. Sphere here. Let's see, can we win the game before the Ratchet Bomb goes off? Keep in mind, Ratchet Bomb needs to go to 3 to kill the Quellers. Down to 8 now. Scrying Sheet here. Here we go, a Collected Company on their turn, and they actually just scoop it up. Very nice. So you saw the matches. You saw how we did. We actually got up against a lot of control decks when I was testing this, and we did really well, which is really good to know. So we know this deck is really good against control because it's got good tempo, good aggro, just good all-around attacking damage. With having, you know, Mausoleum Wanderer and of course Spell Queller to help with like any kind of control magic coming our way. But yeah, I don't know why we kept getting up against control, but I think this deck is very, very fun. If you guys like it, you should try it for sure. And of course, it's Spirits and it's Halloween. You should try to do it. It's really spooky. I understand. But that's going to do it for this video, guys. Love you all, and I will see you in the next one. Peace. Thank you for watching the video. If you enjoyed the video, make sure to smash that like button. Subscribe to the channel for more awesome MTG content just like this. And make sure to tap the bell icon to be notified whenever a video is made live. If you want to keep watching content, here are 2 more videos for you. This video and many others are sponsored by MTGOTraders and Cape Fear Games. Buy and sell digital singles to build your online collection today with MTGOTraders, and get your paper singles, accessories, and much more from Cape Fear Games. Whatever your magic needs, both places have you covered.